Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect of the nation of Israel, starting up with the 144,000, which should be the ruling governing body in the kingdom of heaven, which should be all men, under our Lord Yahweh Shai, under the 12, King David. They'll be the top of the 1/3. Right, the rest of the 1/3 here in America will be men, women, and children. Right, they'll be saved. They'll be believers. 2/3 of all people here in America will be destroyed. Here in Babylon the Great, you also have the rebels that are scattered abroad in different countries that will be destroyed, and you have the elect that's scattered abroad in different countries that will be saved, who the world ignorantly and willingly calls Black, Hispanic, Native American, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Jamaican, Haitian, Guatemala, Panamanians, Cubans to Argentinians, Cubans to Chileans. We are the Israelites, right? Contrary to what people want to believe, I'm the brother Yeremia can make catch on a lesson from End Time Headlines. As y'all can see, it says Elon Musk claims Optimus and AI will enable excellent healthcare. Now, this immediately makes me think of them wanting to, they want to see hit people, man. That's their end goal. That's what they want to accomplish. And we know that we can't trust these devil's miracles. You can't trust what this devil is telling you, man. His plans are nefarious. They're sinister, right? Let me get this in 2 Corinthians 2 and verse 11. It says, "Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." You see, because this devil is not here to help people, man. He's not here to help you. And this is all going into taking people's jobs and stuff like that, and fully setting up his technology, and what better way for him to so-called track you and get him to trust in you, as far as you taking that seed, right? Because we already know people that are going to be sick, that are paralyzed, a lot of these people, hey, they're gonna take this e-hip, whenever they get in situations to where, they can't use their body, like normal, or they're just down and out. It's gonna get to a point to where it gets that bad in society. Not just you being physically sick, but it's gonna get that bad, So ain't nothing that this devil does can you trust him, The scriptures have always warned us to never trust our enemies, man. Especially, like I said, in healthcare, hey, that's why it's good that brothers work out, brothers, and you sisters too, you get your health right, eat right, just take care of your body, But let me get this in Sirach real quick, Sirach 12. In verse 10 it says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness." You see? So, he may come to you in a, smiley, he cheesing, at you, he may tell you all the benefits of, whatever so-called new, medicine or whatever new technology they just came out with. He may tell you only good things and not the side effects, but that's just how this devil rolls. But again, that's why I was just saying, hey, it's good for us to, take care of ourselves, man. Your body is your temple, right? And we know that the Lord heals everything, man. Hey, brothers, we ain't trying to go to the hospital. You should avoid these type of things if you can. Now, it's good to get a checkup or something. I'm not no doctor or anything. I ain't trying to claim to be, but it's good to, maybe get a checkup or something, I'm just giving probably, something that you could do if you want to. If you don't, it's your body. But, you definitely ain't trusting no damn robot, man. You know how your body better than anybody. If you feel off, if something feels right, if something changes, the Lord will give you signs and stuff like that. Or what you need to work on as far as health. But, we go to YASHAMIAHLA for all things, right? The Lord gave us, He gave us things on what to look for. He gave us dietary laws. There's just certain things you can definitely do to improve your health without going to this devil. Trusting him, especially his damn machines, right? Like we go to, I think it's in the same book, Sirach 30. We go to a Sirach 30, in verse 15. It says, "Health and good state of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth." Right? If you have a healthy body, hey, you can still continue teaching, pleasing the Lord. I'm not saying you can't if you, sick, if you got ailments. If you believe, no matter what state you're in. But, and you could just do more day-to-day things easier, right? And if you have infinite wealth, if you don't have health, then you can better even enjoy that wealth, right? If you can't walk or something, you can't really enjoy that wealth. You can't go to here, go there, do this. It says, verse 16, it says, "There is no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart." Right? So health is very important, man. Hey, brothers work out, brothers go to the gym, brothers do calisthenics, fitness, brothers watch what they eat, brothers is into herbs. That's how you're supposed to be. I want to see if it's in this chapter. The scriptures say, matter of fact, I'll read this. It's down here in this verse 25. It says, "A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat diets." You see, so, hey, if you have a cheerful and good heart towards the Lord, YASHAMIAHLA, you're going to watch these things. You're not going to be going to this devil for everything, man. You go to this devil for everything. You trust in him, though. The Lord is going. Hey, there's an account. I ain't gonna read it, but there's an account where I think it's in the book of Kings. It might be in like 2 Kings, but there's an account of I believe it was one of the kings of Israel back during those times where he fell sick and he didn't seek the Lord. For him to be healed, he sought after somebody else, and the Lord took him out for that, man. There's an account. If brothers want to find where it is, you can find it. I'm not gonna read it on this video, but I know it's in there. The Lord took somebody out for that, man. You're supposed to pray to YASHAMIAHLA first when you sick, right? That's what you're supposed to do, right? You're not supposed to immediately seek out, this man's system, his ways of doing things. Pray to the Lord first, use the herbs, do that type of stuff. The Lord gave us, the blueprint of what to do, how to treat our bodies, man. You go into this devil and you believe in his healthcare system, and you believe in a man like this, they ain't gonna end up well for you, man. Right? Matter of fact, let me see. Let me see if I can find this. I believe it's in Sirach, the one I want to get. That same the same book. Let me get it. Sirach. I haven't worded in a while. It might be in the same chapter. Yep, Sirach 38 and matter of fact, I'll start at verse 1. It says, Sirach 38 and verse 1. It says, "Honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which he may have for him, for the Lord had created him." And that, hey, Esau ain't the real physician, man. This man is a damn demon. It says, "For the Most High cometh healing, and he shall receive honor of the king." Right? "The skill of the physician shall lift up the head, and in the sight of great men he should be in admiration." Right? It says, "The Lord had created medicines out of the earth," right? The herbs. "He that is wise will not abhor them, right? You know, if you're wise, you're not gonna, like I said, you're not gonna be seeking after this man's system first. That's not gonna be your go-to. You know, like I said, if you could avoid hospitals, man, they don't gonna be doing that, or the doctor, just period. But of course, you know, like I said, it'll be wise, you know, if you want to get a checkup, see how your body's doing, you know. It's not a evil thing if you get a checkup or something, or a physical or whatever, something like that. But if you just go all the time and you just taking this man's medicine constantly to make yourself feel better, well, don't be surprised if you feel in a certain way, because these medicines have side effects, man. You know, because there's chemicals. They've been tampered with. Esau and, you know, put his own spin on it. You know, and, you know, this devil don't care about you. You got to remember where you at, man. You know? And like I said, this ultimately is going into this man putting his technology in you. That's ultimately what this is going into. You know, as a robot. You know? But because I remember I did a video on this maybe like early last year, almost 2 years ago maybe. It was, what's the Edomite's name? Dr. Oz or something. Some Edomite that used to have like a reality show. And he's a part of, I think, Trump's cabinet. And he has something coming out called the Digital Health Ecosystem or something like that. I believe that's the name, but, you know, and, Elon Musk is a part of Trump's little crew too. So, you know, so everything is lead up to that MOTB, man. And if, you know, you ain't taking care of yourself, you know, you could be in situations to where you end up in this man's healthcare system involuntary, you know, kind of voluntary. Well, it is voluntary if you ain't taking care of yourself. So that's why we put our trust in YASHAMIAHLA, man. You know, we ain't believing that this devil say. We ain't, you know, touching this man's stuff. You know, we ain't dealing with him, man. You know, we taking herbs, brothers working out, getting their bodies right, getting their health right. You know, so you ain't gonna have to talk to no damn robot or sign, you know, no BS. You know, so I just want to do a quick video on this, man. You know, hey, don't go to this man if you don't have to. You know, trust in the Lord. You know, deal with the herbs. You know, pray to YASHAMIAHLA, man. Get your health right, exercise. You know, do things that are beneficial. Now that ain't gonna save you, because the scriptures say exercise profiteth little. Let me get that. Let me see. I might be spelling it wrong. Salakia. Yep, this is 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 8. It says, "For bodily exercise profiteth little, but godliness is profitable unto all things." You see that? Having promise of the life that is now is and what is to come. So, hey, you know, exercise, it does profit you. You know, you can definitely stay away from a lot of things. You know, if you exercise and you get your body right, man. You eating right, you ain't eating too damn much, you ain't eating bad food, you ain't gonna have to, you know, deal with hospitals or, you know, stuff like that. That's absolutely necessary. Of course, you don't want to be over righteous, but, you know, if you know, following dietary law, you know, you get your body right, you working out, you doing stuff like that, you're more than likely ain't gonna be in a situation where you got to be in the Esau's medical system. You ain't gonna have to deal with that like that, you know. And the Lord gonna keep your health up, man. You know. But I just wanted to do a quick video on this, man. Hey, this devil ultimately wants to put a C-hip in you. That's ultimately what this is going into. Even though it don't say C-hip, you know, he wants to think that he got you know, control. He wants to be looked up as the Most High. That's why he's pushing his technology in every single area of life. You know, but we trust in YASHAMIAHLA, man. So I'm gonna close out, man. I hope this video was edifying. Hey, pray for more faith, Jake. Pray for more wisdom and knowledge. We almost a part of here, man. Call hello, YASHAMIAHLA. You know, by Shimmer man. Hey, I want to say, Baba Shalom.